March 2nd to the 8th, 2025. I've got an interesting collective weekly forecast. For these ones, I like to actually look on my Stellarium app and see what's really going on in the constellations. It's different than when you hear from me about your personal signs from Aries to Pisces and personal stuff. This is a collective energy, okay? So when we look through the Stellarium app, we can see here that we have the sun is still in Aquarius for a little bit longer. And this authority stuff that's going on in the world, stuff about technology, crypto, and space, and all that kind of stuff that we've been hearing. But there's a very authoritative feeling here. And, there's how could we bring power to the people? Like there's struggles there with the people. And, all this stuff with Mr. Elon Musk and things like that. So that'll be going on for a little bit longer here. But we do have some Pisces flavor, like the Mercury, the way we think, is in Pisces, and Venus is retrograde in Pisces in real life. Okay, what does that mean? Well, collectively, this means this is why we're feeling foggy, a little dreamy, a little confused. Pisces is underwater, right? And so it is a time to reflect on our hopes and dreams and kind of give up on anything that hasn't come true yet, so to speak, or hasn't manifested. And it might be just time to realign our goals and dreams at this time into something a little more realistic. Maybe that's sometimes it's just realistic stuff. It would be like, oh, I wish I had $1 million, but it never happened. Well, it's probably not going to happen if it hasn't yet. So why don't we work for, let's say, 50,000 to start? Okay, like redefining a little bit realistically, because when we're underwater in the Pisces, it gets all foggy and kind of weird that way too. So just wanted to say, let's get real. Okay, now, if we see that's kind of a line right now, as of this recording, March 3rd, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, and the Sun are all in a cute little line there. So that's kind of interesting. And then we look a little bit further. What's Jupiter doing? Well, Jupiter's in Taurus, right between the horns there, as we see. Jupiter is a big holly jolly planet. It can signify philosophy and spiritualism, but Jupiter runs Zeus. It's like, you remember Zeus in Greek mythology, the king of all, you know what I mean? There is a kingly energy with Jupiter, I always find. And because it's right in the middle of those horns, okay, something's happening with the governments and everything and all these chats and, international things. Okay, but this Jupiter is also next to Aldebaran, which is a star. It's a royal star, one of 4, I believe. This is a royal star, though, so we could hear some news from royalty in general, like the king and that kind of royal family, for sure. But this is that drive, that royalty vibe. A little bit too going back to strong morals with Aldebaran there. People, especially, royalty, people who are in charge should lead with the good moral compass, or things could really go bad for them. Okay, this can be a little bit of a bullyish energy too, like bully, like being like a bully to other people, like the kind of feeling. And there is inflammation when it comes to communications with these higher ups. I'll show you why. Mars is in Gemini for the real collective, okay, real in the sky. It literally is in Gemini right now, constellation. And so with Mars being the very strong warrior, hot, fiery, rash, action-oriented planet, it's, in Gemini, which is the talking. And so it's a dry energy. And that's why people are getting a lot of the dry, inflammation in their chests, for example. Now, if we look even closer at the Gemini constellation, we have Pollux and Castor. And I want to give you a quick little story about these two. These two are half-brothers. Pollux being the god one, like immortal, and Castor being mortal, like a human. Okay. Now, these guys were half-brothers because Pollux's dad is Zeus. And Zeus is like Jupiter. Pollux runs the Mars side of things. That, like, he was a boxer, ruled the hands, and Mars is fiery and rash and kind of rude sometimes and cruel sometimes. These two guys, these two half brothers, had a psychic connection, okay, making up that Gemini constellation in Greek mythology. Now, Pollux was also, a brave guy, a spirited, well, I shouldn't say a guy because he was a half god, a demigod, we call it. He was brave, spirited, sometimes cruel in nature. And he's sort of like the Mars. And so hands, because he was a boxer, hands. And it's funny because Mars can be like accidents and inflammation. And I have a client who's a Gemini, and she told me that she just recently broke her wrist. And I thought that was interesting. It could kind of match in that whole inflammation, hands, rash, accidents and stuff with that Mars flavor on Pollux in Gemini. Okay. So, and then his brother there, his half brother Castor, that was the mortal, who was the son of a Spartan king, the human king. Okay, so they had the same mom, but they had different dads. Okay, so this guy Castor was immortal and more of a Venusian energy, like Venus, like more, let's say, gentle or something like that. However, he was still a little violent himself, mischievous, but he had a very keen mind and was very traveled. Okay, like traveled everywhere. So here we have these two people, and they're like kind of fighting. And in fact, in the end, I think Pollux unalives Castor, his mortal brother there. So that's unfortunate. But this is the whole point of we have to stay grounded in this crazy sort of Marsy energy with Gemini. And there's lots of talking and there's lots of communications right now. And yes, it can get heated, as we've seen in some of the what's going on with the governments and stuff like that. Definitely a heated time here. But it's also, for us in general, it's a powerful time for mental focus. It's a powerful time to plan and strategize for your next move and not necessarily take any rash decisions right now, especially with the Venus retrograde asking us not to maybe take too much action and slow down a bit and maybe use the Pisces to formulate new dreams now, right? And kind of think about that. And so I just want to say, if you find that you're getting into more accidents or you're angry more lately, well, you probably have Gemini in your chart, maybe, or you're just feeling the energies of the cosmos of this sort of restless change in the air. And as we get closer to eclipse on March 14th, where, or at least it's ramping up, we're starting to ramp up. We just got off of a new moon, which we're still enjoying, it's nice and it's not, but you're feeling something, right? You're feeling something big's gonna happen, right? And so let's just relax and, take a deep breath when we need to do that. Let's pull some cards to see what else we could glean from this. Oh, I forgot my cards over there. One second. All right, so let's pull some cards from the Power of 8 Chakra Lenormand, which does come as a set with the Power of 8 Chakra Oracle. All right, knock 3 times. Oh, look, it's on the bottom, the authority of Saturn. That Aquarius Saturn, the authority figures, maybe fighting and stuff like that. That's kind of interesting. It's right on the bottom. I got to shuffle that all in. The Tower card and Lenormand. Ooh. Okay, so what do we all need to know as a collective for March 2nd to 8th? Any messages, Spirit, for us? So there is big decisions, cutting, big decisive actions probably in the government too. And just like with Mars and Gemini, with the two brothers, they can be rash, they can be cruel almost sometimes and things like that. So we're going to see some big decisions, some cut in some way. Let's get some more clarifiers. What kind of cutting and what is it cutting? Let's see if we can figure that out. Okay, so there's decisions with these new options. There has been a lot of division. There has been a lot of thought. Should we do this? Should we do that as a government, as a collective? All these, right, in the world news. And so big decisions are going to be made. These are sort of like big decisions are going to be made, okay, with the crossroad options. So that's interesting. Let's see any more clarifiers. I'll also pull some tarot cards, not our cards, the tarot, but another company. Okay, new decisions about the new. There's the the child card, which means something new. So we do have decisions, and it's going to lead to something totally new. Now, in what? Like, in what? Are we talking finances? Are we talking money? Or are we talking career? What are we talking about here? Well, there's a crossing pain. There's a burden. So, maybe these decisions aren't going to feel so great for us. They're not going to feel so great for us, perhaps. Or they're hard decisions to make. And this can be for as a collective, we're having a hard time to make these big decisions. I need to literally today I'm thinking of archiving my Facebook group that's been here for years, but I just not really doing it anymore or whatever. I'm on YouTube. I'm all over. I just, making these, cutting out things from your life to make things more streamlined. And it's so that you can make room for new. But yeah, it feels like a burden. It kind of feels sad when you have to make these big decisions sometimes too, doesn't it? It's like you feel like, oh, I don't really want to archive my Facebook group, but I'm never there anyway. You know what I mean? Like that kind of feeling too. So these decisions for the new might not feel great for everyone. Like, let's say a government decision is made, might not feel great. However, the sun came out at the end. So yes, there's going to be pain involved. March is probably going to be full of pain. It's in the butts, let's face it. But in the end, we do get sun, the success card. And I like this card. 3 + 1 is 4, which is the number of stability. And so we got the 3 on one side and the 1 on the other side. And the 3 is about being creative and like a childlike, happy personality and being creative and networking and talking and communicating maybe in a nice way. And then the 1 is leadership and run by the sun. So with 3 mixed with the 1, so we get stability and security in the end with the new decisions. Okay. And, we might find some nice creative communications throughout that way and ways for us to become our own leaders in our life too. So that looks good as a collective read, right? Okay. Let's pull a chakra card to go with that. We've got to chakrify ourselves. What do we need to know? March 2nd to 8th. By the way, the 8th is my dad's birthday. So exciting. All right. I am aligned. Yes, aligning yourself, aligning your business, aligning your life, making some of these decisions that doesn't feel great, but we got to clean it out, right? And, and maybe you don't have to do anything drastic right now since we are in Venus retrograde, but you could just think about it. Think about what it's going to feel like and maybe not do anything rash, like Pollux with the Mars and Gemini and all that. Maybe not do anything rash right now, but just get yourself aligned. Think about what it looks like to have an aligned life, an aligned business, an aligned relationship, an aligned family, and so on. I am aligned. Work on the chakras and, get some of that Mercury and Pisces wisdom from the cosmos and from spirit, that can be very good. And finally, I'll pull a tarot card as well to see what we as a collective can know from March 2nd to 8th. So exciting. Okay, and we've got this. Yes, it was that sun. Remember when so the guys look at, this is the 3 of Wands, by the way. 2 of Wands. That decision again. Remember when we had the crossroads? You got 2 wands here, and then you got the crossroads. There's a lot of the 2 energy of should I do this? Should I do that? But maybe there's a middle way, right? Maybe there's the middle way as well. And we do have to make decisions here for new and find our sunshine. What's going to bring us pleasure now with Venus in retrograde and thinking about that. There's a lot of sunshine here, a lot of confidence, a lot of yellow solar plexus chakra for intuition and for confidence in your decision making and having a nice satisfactory life and happy life, right? And a little bit of the orange too, which is finding your passion as well, like what floats your boat and blows your hair back nowadays. So that's something that we're thinking of with the 2 of Wands. And the Wands is a lot about our environment too. So it could be just if you're feeling restless, do some cleaning, get something that feels like you've accomplish something. Okay, that can be helpful as well. And there is options. See that word options come here. And we always think grass is greener on the other side, but technically that's not true. We got to work at our own grass. And look, we've got that Mars coming up again. So we have that Mars and Gemini in the real cosmos. Mars is coming up again on this taking action, but more like this is more of a planning card for the action that you're gonna take. Like I said, it's not a good idea to make a bunch of rash decisions during two retrogrades, by the way, Venus and Mercury in March. So two retrogrades, not a good time to take action. Very good time to plan for it and to revisit that which worked and look at with realistic eyes what is not working, right? And so there we go. And we've got a little bit of energy with that Aries symbol there, which is fiery, action oriented, taking leadership in your life in some way, deciding to stay, deciding to go. There's a little bit of waiting and anticipation here as we go through the retrogrades, and we're waiting for those eclipses to see what the heck's going to happen with that. And there could be a little bit of wanderlust too, like, what do I want next for my life and all that kind of vibes. So that's very interesting indeed. Oh, I didn't even see this card that dropped out is the Fool card, a major arcana. So, we were thinking about the planning stage here, and then eventually we're going to take the leap of faith. It's the beginning of the whole tarot, taking that leap of faith, but not yet, right? Right now, because we want to be free and we want to be original. We want to be independent and we want to take our little dog on a trip and we want to just go, right? And we want we have new beginnings coming here, which was also signified in Lenormand by the child card, the new. And this is a new card too, new beginnings as well. So new beginnings are on the horizon for everybody. I know for a lot of us, it's already started, even though the eclipses aren't here yet. And remember, these eclipses go on for like 6 months after or whatever. It's not just on that day, March 14th, and there's an eclipse and okay, it's over. No, these ripple out. Eclipses are huge simulation resets, huge chapter changes, reality shifting in our lives. So take that into account and watch your March 2025 videos from Aries to Pisces for more information. All right. I'm Trina, your intuitive guide from Peace River, Alberta in Canada, helping you navigate life's energies. And come see me for a reading or for the cards or for a bunch of other stuff at my website, www.themoontree.org. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.